I went to Joshua's house, my son's house, yesterday, late afternoon, and he had just brought my grandchildren home from camp, and they had a sleepaway camp of 1 week, and they're leaving tomorrow for a 4 week sleepaway camp. So it was like that little window of opportunity to see them. And Blanche and I drove over, and I mean, the hugs that were exchanged were worth the drive and worth the lifetime I've lived with these kids. I can't explain the amount of love that one can have for another human being. And I have it for a lot of people, but boy, those grandchildren are amazing. And they came back so enlivened by this camp. It was a role-playing camp. I can't tell you what that is, except there were swords and costumes and all these things and adventures and absolute um, opportunity to leave the world behind and to escape into otherness and find who you are in that space. And they found so much and they brought it back with so much joy. And I was happy to hug it for 1 minute, and I didn't need to do more than that, honestly. I knew how to draw everything in at 1 minute and just go, thank you so much. Um, and we had a wonderful evening. Uh, and my son and I were talking for a little bit, and something about the political universe arose for one moment, and he said, "Don't go there." And that was a really interesting moment for me, among many interesting moments nowadays. But "don't go there," I think speaks to probably many of us. That part of the journey into the spiritual realm, if you will, is a place of uh, quietude and simplicity and separation from the there. It's a place that you can go to hibernate, to withdraw, to comfort, to sit quietly without having to deal with the there. But one of the things I'm learning, and it's fascinating that learning is going on in many ways, deeper ways than it ever has, is that the there is, of course, here. It's all one thing. And the there that we are all facing at this moment in the world around us is profoundly intense. And there is no way that the statement, don't go there, is going to keep us safe from there because our lives are enmeshed in the there as much as the here. It's all a singularity, if you will. And it's going to inform our day to day existence if it isn't already. And it's going to get more so and deeper and more powerful and more in our face. And we kind of all know that, but that's why we're saying don't go there. It'll come when it's ready, and it's already ready. So the idea of a spiritual life is to find the magnitude of openness and availability to go yes to the totality, to go yes, to go surrender, to open to the what is, even when the what is isn't particularly uh, what the mind and story of our life would want it to be. Many of us want it to be shaped by the calmness and the serenity of our inner being. We want the world to be witnessed as a loving, beautiful space with drama and need and things that we have to do, but not as a kind of a cruel, difficult, demanding, and assaulting environment. But it is that. It is that. It is all those things. And how we're going to dance with that is going to be individually chosen. Whether you're a good dancer or not a good dancer, whether you can find your way into the scheme of the universe unfolding in ways that you had not planned for and don't really particularly want, or whether you are going to find a way to, not go there. This is all in the journey of all of us. And it gets into true existential questions about what is this? Where are we? How do we get here? What do we do? What is the purpose of our existence? And you're going to find lots of answers to that question. And most of you who are sitting in this particular class have gotten answers, and that it puts it into quote unquote spiritual perspective. The spiritual is in some ways a bigger vision. It includes the totality, but it also operates, if you will, as a safety zone in the totality. And for many people, the spiritual journey is a story. It is a story in the larger story of your story. And your story is a journey. It has beginning, it has middle, and for some of you, like Blanche and I, we're starting to see the end. Some of you are also seeing that. And if you're a Hollywood screenwriter, you want that ending to be a happily ever after end, but it doesn't exactly move in that direction for everybody or for most human beings, other than maybe the last brief moment of your life, maybe a poetic, aha, happy ending. But the journey right now into story is that the story around us is not of our own making, although you can argue on some level it is of our own making because of the political universe we have all inhabited and the certainty and the uncertainty and the sense of if we do this or vote for that person, everything will be perfect. And now, of course, we're learning that we've been engaged in a larger universe that has produced this result. We're in this moment, and we have to find how we, as quote unquote spiritual beings, dance, dance with the unfolding of what is. And it's hard for me as a teacher of quote unquote meditative spiritual practice to tell you what to do at this moment in time because so many people are using the story aspect of their spiritual life to put things into context, to make it this and to make it that. When in fact, and this is part of my journey and Blanche's journey, story is starting to fall away. Story is starting to alter in many, many ways. And it's really interesting, particularly for me, that the spiritual journey in many ways weaves its way through my life as a story. I can talk about it as a story, how I found the universe as a totality, if you will, how I found a teacher like Rudy and how he, in a way, guided me through the journey into finding self and finding something vast and amazing within the self. But mostly, when you look at that, it is part of the story of your life. It's also the transcendent element that takes you out of story. So when story starts to fall away, you actually start to discover that the spiritual journey was not just a story, it was a doorway, if you will, into something profound. And one of the exquisite things about memory loss and aging is as the story falls away, if you have built into the story a journey of transcendence and depth, and you have given yourself something that is going to watch the story and observe the story and be part of the story, but not the story, if you have allowed yourself that during the journey of your life, when this story starts to fall away, this observant awareness, the quote unquote spiritual part of your life, will continue to witness it, even though the story part of it will start to fall away. And I'm telling you, this is a really interesting moment because everything that kind of puts it into perspective, that relates it to past and future, doesn't work that way anymore. What happens is you simply are a witness in a profound sense to this unfolding thing that somehow embodied you for a period of time and is going to disembody you, which is probably happening for many of us already. And you are going to be able to look at it and go, ah, ah, as opposed to, ah, that's a big difference. It's a big difference. And the reason to engage a spiritual practice is not to avoid the story or to find a happy ending, if you will. The purpose to engage a spiritual practice is to build the muscle of, that's maybe the wrong word, to find the doorway to the witness of this extraordinary journey, to witness the unfolding of this life, which is starting, it's going to start because I'm experiencing this, to look different than you expected. It just changes character. Blanche and I were driving yesterday to Joshua's house, and I was saying, I'm not seeing this the way I've seen it before. I know these roads, I've been on them for years, but they don't look like the roads I've been on. This is coming at me differently. It is a new witnessing of a very old space and pattern. And that new witnessing is really part of the loss of the fabric of the story, of the tension of the story, of the drama of the story, of the knowability of the story. You are just in this space of, wow, this is new. It's not new. This ride, I've done it many, many times. Not new, but boy, oh boy, was it new. It was so new. My grandchildren walking in the room, I've known them for all the years they've lived. They were new. My children, Joshua, Evan, my kids, Ari, and Burju, are all coming across to me as new. I have no explanation for this. Other than that, the storyteller, the one who weaves all this together, who we are and who we think we are as human beings, is going to fall away. And the remaining reality is not part of the story as much as it is the truth of being doing its own thing until it's finished. Your weaving it together is wonderful, but its unweaving is also wonderful. Now, it may be uncomfortable, and you may not want to go there, meaning there will be things you start to see and feel that are not what you imagine they would be or the way they should be, but that will be parts of what I will call mind holding itself together. The mind trying to weave it back into the story mode. And that is, it's what human beings do, but I'm telling you, it's not the best practice. And the fact that we've been sitting now, many of us for decades, is a gift beyond understanding because it allows you to watch the story fall away. The I don't want to go there thing fall away. The only place you're going to go is into now, to where you've always been. Could it get difficult and dark and unpleasant? I'm telling you, it will, period. It has its aspects of loss and difficulty, and it has its final moments, if you will. But the witnessing of those moments, even the pain of those moments, is a shocking power of revelation, of yes. And even the great saints, if you will, the great teachers of life, have gone into this profound place of loss and suffering. It's really part of the journey. But the idea that there is a witness to that that doesn't go anywhere is, in a way, the gift of decades and decades of sitting, of a spiritual life. That's basically what you're doing. You're weaving in a witness, or not weaving it in, you're digging into the reality of the witness of this whole experience. Will it save you from pain and suffering? Sorry, I don't think so. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. But all I can tell you is whatever unfolds, that I'm not going there, space will come for you. And you will have to wake up to and witness the totality of what was woven, what was built, what was constructed as your existence and your life. The great gift that you have gotten or given yourself is that the witness will be more alive and more vibrant than the part of you that falls away. The part of you that falls away is inevitably gone already. The witness goes nowhere, as far as I know. And if that's part of the story, well, then forgive me 50 years wasted. But I don't believe the witness is part of the story. It has what feels like infinite aspect. It feels like a love and a joy and a contentment and a enraptured sense of being that I witness every day and I believe will not go anywhere. Maybe that's my story. Maybe that's all of our story, and maybe it's just a story. If that's the case, I'm telling you it's a better story than just walking around blindly suffering the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that life throws at everybody. Having a witness puts it in perspective, not a story perspective, because that's your mind. The witness just witnesses. And it sometimes informs, it sometimes says, go right, go left. And it's sometimes when you do something well, it goes like that. Tight, small acknowledgement. I can only tell you again from my perspective, and it may be a Hollywood storytelling perspective, we are all in the realm of learning how to let go of the ephemeral and find the reality that is just present tense awareness, witness, being, just being, and letting go of, quote, doing, which is a mental thing more than anything else, letting go of doing and just being, or allowing being to determine the doing, which is what it does. You know, when you have a leak in the ceiling, the doing, or really the being, says call somebody, and you do it. But it's the being, if you are allowing that to work, it's the being that's saying, okay, go buy the groceries. Okay, you need Tylenol. Okay, it's very simple, and it's not the doer that's important here. The doer is the follower, really, of the being. And the being, when you let it discover and present itself, is a profound, deep awareness and guidance system and truth of your own existence. And it is so available to you if you want it. And the great thing about a meditative life, sitting for decades or weeks or preferably longer, the power of the sitting and the opening and the asking and the surrender is you actually become one with that which is observing the entire creation of manifested life. You are one with that. You have never been anything but, and it will speak to you. It will speak to you silently, but with enormous direction. And you will be the beneficiary of someone who can therefore bring forth this quietude of awareness. And as I try to say every week, share that with other people. And it's not hard to share. The simple sharing of this reality has to do with being nice and being kind and loving. And you don't have to do that. You are that. Be that. Just be that. And it will take care of the world around you and everything that needs to be cared for. That's how it works. So again, we are in a very interesting time. Your practice is really valuable to you. It has purpose. You will see its greater purpose at the end of your life, probably, than you do on a day-to-day basis, although I may be wrong about that. I have often witnessed it day by day. But I will tell you, sit and open and ask for help to go deeper and allow yourself to be that which you already are. It's a great gift. The end. Um, you know, questions, worries, fears, concerns, needs.
This is Janice again. I so just got so much out of what you just had to said. I've been sitting on the fence about something. I was supposed to go to a funeral for Ada Roshi's wife, and I was planning on going. And then about an hour ago, I just got this really dark feeling like I'm not supposed to go. And listening to you, it's like you're talking to me like you're answering all the questions I just had in my mind, you know.
I'm finding the same thing. We were supposed to go to a dinner the other night. The at Bard College, they have amazing, I mean, opera productions. We live so close to this amazing, amazing space, and went to the opera, and we were invited to the head of the whole music program, and actually the head of Bard's house for dinner afterward. And normally you go to these things because you're invited. And Blanche and I looked at each other and we went, nope, don't want to go. And the power of that was amazing. It was amazing. I don't have to go anywhere. It would have been, I mean, yeah, it probably would have meant something on some story level, scale. I mean, being invited to these kinds of things is, I'm sure, wonderful for many people, but Blanche can't hear. It's going to be an interaction with a lot of people that, what do you do? Where are you from? What do I don't have to do that. It no longer is part of my life. So the idea of empowerment and going no and changing your plans and your directions without any aspect of concern or sense of shoulda, woulda, coulda, all that stuff, it just goes away. So what you're describing to me is exactly that kind of thing. There's a kind of knowing that you can show up or not show up. It doesn't matter. It will just be more part of the story that you weave into existence. You're probably great as you are. I would venture to say, having known you for these years, you are great as you are. Adding that funeral to the equation is not necessarily going to change anything. So my feeling is find the truth in yourself and not what your mind and ego tell you, but what yourself says to you, and just do it. It's fine. There's no judgment. There's no, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. None of that is part of the equation, really. It's an old story. That's a high school story. It doesn't have to happen at this point in our lives. Anybody else? Okay. Love you all. I should say next weekend, I am going to my son Ari's and his wife Burju's home in Washington, D.C., and there will be no in-person class. The week after, there will be a class, and I will make it in person and West Coast at the same time because the week after that, I think we're going to pick up the kids from their other camp, and we'll go away that weekend. If that changes, I will let people know. But right now, the next class will be in 2 weeks, and it will be West Coast, East Coast combined. And then there will be no class, and then we'll be back to some normal schedule as we hit September. So if you can keep that in your mind, great. If not, I will send little notes off to you so it sort of filters in. I love you all. You have no idea how much the energy of this class knows you, greets you, sends love to you, and honors you in profound, profound ways. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.